The best part about my desk setup is I can sit down and from my seat, I can turn on the camera, I can turn on my key light with the press of a button, and I can start live streaming or shooting YouTube content right away. I've also done some really cool things like connecting my podcast microphone to my camera, so when I live stream, nothing's out of sync, everything is just tied up right away. And if I'm shooting YouTube videos, I don't have to sync the audio to the camera later in post. There's a ton more of these little gadgets and hacks that I use to save myself time and space so that I can shoot down in my small home office and just start making content.
You gotta just press record.
Let's go ahead and get started with the desk. Now, the actual desk that I got was a standing desk, and it's actually the cheapest standing desk on Amazon. I think I got it for around $200 at the time. Right now it's at $260, so there might be a cheaper option out there. But I've had this thing for over a year and I love being able to stand up and sit down during the day. Now, the top that I have is nothing special. It's like a $30 desktop from IKEA. Definitely something I want to replace over time so that it's a bit sturdier and stronger, especially with all this expensive gear. That is something I want to upgrade next. Now, on top of my desk, I have this dark wooden desk shelf, and I really like the color and the dimension that it brings to my desk setup. Now, this only costs $60 on Amazon, but they do sell out really fast. So check the link down below, make sure it's still available if you want to pick one up. They do go fast, but they do get restocked as well. On top of that, we have the Kanto YU2 speakers, and I love the sound that I get from these. And these are actually $270, but for me, when I'm editing videos all day and creating content and listening to stuff, I don't want to have headphones over my ears the entire day because then my ears get tired. And so having some really nice speakers were really important for me, and I absolutely love these. Now, the computer mouse that I decided to go with was the Logitech MX Master 3, and I absolutely love this mouse. Originally, I was using just the Magic Mouse from Apple, but my hands started to cramp up a lot during long edits. And so I went with this, and it definitely helped because it just shapes my hand a bit better. And there's tons of customizable buttons. So I found when I'm editing inside of Final Cut Pro, I can edit a lot faster because of some of the buttons on the mouse. And of course, I have a little Star Wars mouse pad underneath because I just love Star Wars. And I think this thing was like $7 on Amazon, and I got it like probably 4 or 5 years ago. So this thing has been around for a long time, and hey, still looks good. Now, on the back of the desk, we do have this monitor mount, which is holding my monitor as well as my laptop. Eventually, I do want to go with a dual monitor setup, but this really works perfectly, and you only need one monitor, and you basically get 2 monitors with the laptop. So I really like this setup right now. It's been working perfectly for me. Now, the computer that I'm using that I do all of my work off of is the MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip. This is the 16-inch version 2021, and I absolutely love this computer. I can edit all of my footage and have some really complex timelines, and this thing just does a great job of dealing with all of it. It never slows me down. This thing is just an absolute beast. Now, from my laptop, I do have a docking station, which is the CalDigit TS3, and this allows me to connect a bunch of accessories, and the monitor and everything else that is attached to this computer is through this TS3. And I also found some really cheap brackets so that I could actually mount this underneath my desk, and that was a really nice find. Now, the CalDigit is out of stock right now, so we're gonna leave a link to an alternative. However, if it does pop up back in stock, check the links in the description. The monitor that I'm using for this setup is a ViewSonic 32-inch 4K monitor, and I really like it. It doesn't have the same exact colors that I noticed on my 16-inch beautiful Retina display MacBook Pro, but it does the job, and it really is a great monitor. I do wish the monitor was a little bit brighter. Behind my desk, you can see I have these windows, and so sometimes it can be a little tricky because it's so bright outside, but overall, I do like this monitor, and we're gonna leave a link to the newer version because this one they don't make anymore. On the back of the monitors, I have these Govee light bars, and it's really cool because they can change colors, and I can control it with my Google Home, so I can just turn them on and off really easily. Now, on top of the monitor, we have this really cool piece of tech. It's a top light, and it is for my desk because I didn't want to have an actual lamp on my desk, but I did need some lights so I could write things down or I could work from my desk at nighttime, and this thing just works perfectly. I love the minimal design and how the light actually doesn't shine on the monitor, so it just kind of lays on the actual desk itself. And then it has this wireless remote, which is super cool, super easy to use, and it just kind of feels futuristic, and I love having this control knob for my light on my desk. Now, when it comes to the microphone that I'm using the Samson Q9U, which is a $120 microphone, and then I have it on this heavy duty podcast arm, and I absolutely love this microphone. Before that, I was using the Samson Q2U, but this one just looks so much better, and I absolutely love the sound that I get from it. Now, this is a a USB and XLR microphone. So previously I was going USB-C straight into my computer and that worked perfectly, but I wanted to experiment with running an XLR out to my camera so that it would be completely synced to my camera. Now, in order to do that, I did get a right angle XLR adapter, and this one was only a foot long. I definitely should have got like a 6 foot long cable. I just didn't. So that's something I'm going to upgrade, and I'll leave a link to that below as well. Now, at the end of the XLR, you are going to want to convert that to go into your camera. And so I have this converter from Comica, and I actually picked it up for $36, and it's on sale right now for $36. Usually it is around $50, but this thing's awesome. This thing is a converter and a preamp, so you can control the volume, and you also can plug in headphones if you want to listen back to hear how it sounds while you're filming. Now, I did want this preamp to be close to me so I could turn it up and down or turn it on and off, and so I did need to get an extender to go to the camera, and so that is just your basic 3.5 millimeter audio cable extension cable, something like that. Now, the camera I'm using on my desk is the Sony a7 IV. This really is a beast of a camera. And one of the reasons I wanted to use this for my webcam is because you can go straight from USB-C to your computer and stream in 1080 HD at 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. The lens I'm using on this camera is a Tamron 17-28 f2.8 lens. And then I have a power adapter going in there, so I never have to replace batteries. This thing is just plugged into a wall and it's always on, or I could turn it off if I want to, but I never have to replace the batteries. Like I mentioned, the USB-C can be used to actually do live streaming, so you don't need to do anything with the HDMI out on this camera. So you need to make sure though that you get the right USB-C cable. I'm gonna leave that link down below. If you don't get the right one, it probably just won't work. It's not gonna connect to your computer, or you're only gonna be able to live stream in 720p. And so if you get the right one, you are gonna have all the options where you can live stream in 1080 up to 60 frames per second. And you also want to use the one that I linked down below because you want that 90-degree cable. If you don't do this, then basically you're going to cover up a lot of your screen and you're not going to be able to see your audio levels. And you need to see your audio levels when you're filming. So if you get that cable, then you perfectly can see your screen and still use the camera without using an extra monitor. And I love this setup because I can just turn on the camera and instantly start filming my content, or I can start live streaming. And speaking of live streaming, this video is actually brought to you by Streamyard, which is what we use at Think Media to live stream. We also use Streamyard to live stream on our Think Media podcast channel. Make sure you check that out if you haven't yet. But if you're someone who wants to start live streaming, Streamyard is the easiest way to just get going. They make it so simple and so easy to use, whether you want to bring on guests or you want to go through some slides or even have a logo in the corner. They make it really, really easy inside there. So while you're live streaming, you can control the live stream from Streamyard and still be able to focus on the content of the live stream. Now, if you want to start live streaming today with Streamyard, you can get $10 off your first month if you use the link in the description, or you just go to streamwiththink.com. Now, to hold up the camera, I have this camera desk mount, so it just connects to the back of the desk. And I love this because we don't have a lot of room in a small office to place a tripod for lights and cameras and microphones. So this makes it really easy to keep the camera exactly where I want without having to set up an actual tripod. This just attaches right to the back of the desk. And then on top of the stand, I have a ball head where I can move the camera around and get it nice and level. And this also has a quick release plate. So it's really easy for me to take the camera off and take it wherever I want to go, and then I can just snap it right back in. Now, for the key light that I'm using for my desk setup, I'm using the Godox ES45 key light. I picked up this light for $120, but sometimes you can find it between $120 to $140, but it does come with that desk mount. So it is literally meant for this kind of a setup where you can put it on the desk, you can raise it up exactly where you want, and then you have this wireless remote control where you can turn it on or turn it off. You can also adjust the brightness, or you can make it warmer or cooler just from this little controller. And I love how easy it was to set up. And I love that I can just turn it on and turn it off right from my desk, so I don't have to get up. And having the actual controller come off the back of the light is so clutch because sometimes it's just hard to see, and having it right in front of you on your desk so you don't have to get up and move is really, really nice. Now, on the light, I do have this diffuser, and this wasn't actually made for this light, but it works perfectly. Basically, this is just turning this light into a big softbox so that the light is much softer and it just looks a lot better. Like I said, it wasn't meant for this kind of light, so I kind of had to get a little funky with how I attach the Velcro, but it works just fine. I've been using this for months. I love the look that I get from it. I love the soft lighting I get from it, and it hasn't fallen off or anything like that. It is sturdy. It is good to go. It just looks a little funky from behind. If you guys like this video, then you're gonna love this video. Click on the screen and watch Kyle's desk setup. It is legendary. I'll see you guys in the next one.